Batzima. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Today we're going to have a Shiur in Halachic History. I don't mean how halacha evolved. I mean to say that the history of the Jewish people, different halachas came into play in different times of history. For example, as we're going to see today, and we saw in yesterday's Shiur also, there are certain halachas that only started applying when they came to Eretz Yisrael. When the Jews came from the desert after their journey in the desert for 40 years, they came to the land of Israel, and there, under the leadership of Yoshua, aka Joshua, they started performing certain mitzvahs that they did not perform before. Right? Needless to say, all the mitzvahs at Lois Boretz, all the mitzvahs that are dependent on the land, agricultural mitzvahs, one can and should only be Mekayim, should fulfill them only when he lives in the land of Israel, not outside of it. When they're in the desert, they didn't do that. There are exceptions to the rule. There are certain mitzvahs that do apply in Chutz La'aretz. And that's exactly what we're about to learn again now. We are in Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis towards the bottom of the page. Let me open my own Gemara. Lamed Zayin Amud Beis towards the bottom of the page. Yeah, we have the Bishlam Alaman de Omar. 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Bishlam Alaman de Omar. Okay, so there is at least one mitzvah which has to be fulfilled also outside Eretz Yisrael. Which one is this? Chodosh. The prohibition of eating from the new grains before Pesach, before the second day of Pesach, when in Beis HaMikdash to bring the Korban HaOmer. That prohibition, according to some Tanoim, applies all over the world. Why? Because when it comes to the mitzvah of Chodosh, the Pasuk uses the term Moishvoi Seichem, your settlements. And we saw Mechloikes, which follows us through the entire sugya. What does Moshvoi Seichem mean? When the Torah tells us all your settlements, you should fulfill this or not fulfill or prohibited in all your dwellings. What does it mean? One, either means to say wherever you sit, wherever you are, be it in New Zealand or Nebraska or Nigeria, wherever you are, you have to fulfill the mitzvah, Moshvoi Seichem. Or Moshvoi Seichem means you only try, you should only keep that mitzvah once you are settled in the land of Israel. What does that mean? How long did it take them to settle down properly in Eretz Yisrael? 14 years. 7 years they conquered it from the Goyim, from the Shiva Amomim, and 7 years they settled it amongst themselves to know what plot of land belongs to who. Says the Gemara, Bishlama. Now we're going to see a verse from the book of Joshua. We're going to see a pasuk from Sefer Yoshua, which seems to be a bit perplexing regarding what actually happened when they came to the Eretz Yisrael, to the land of Israel. What was, in practice, what happened? Did they eat the new grains? Didn't they eat the new grains? Before we continue, I'd like to let you know, it says Mefurash in the Novi, in Yoshua, what date, in which date of the year did they actually enter Eretz Yisrael? The very first Aliyah. You think the first Aliyah was a Zionist, the secular? No. The first Aliyah was Yoshua and his nation. And that was, what was the date? Yud Nisan. It was in the 10th of Nisan. Yeah, in other words, the journey in the desert started in Tes Vav Nisan, 40 years earlier, and finished in Yud Nisan. So they came to Eretz Yisrael a few days before Pesach. I'm sure the women were not happy, to move house, right before Pesach. Maybe actually it was good. They didn't have to clean for Pesach. But Yud Nisan is when they came to Eretz Yisrael. Okay, and by the way, this year's Le'ilu Nishma Sovi Mori Menachem Ben Akiva Rus Bas Shalom Sor Bas Moshe Hen Yerei Shabbos Elchon and Yitzchok Ve'Lefuas Chan Lefuas Penina Chan Bas Gul Rochel Chan Batzima, and all the captives should come back home very, very, very soon, and may we win this war quickly. The story tells us they came to Eretz Yisrael when? Yud Nisan. That's Mefurish in the Novi. Now, when did they actually start eating from the new grains? They came to Eretz Yisrael. Let's assume that they found new grains. Yud Nisan, Pesach, is when the grains are, when all the wheat and barley, all the stalks are, nice and golden and swaying in the air, in the wind so beautifully. Why couldn't they come and, already start eating it right away? Because it says that the first time that they had some kind of wheat or barley or cereals was when? On the second day of Pesach, Tes Zayin Nisan. Why did they have to wait for so long? All right, and wait from Yud Nisan, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Aleph, Tezvav, Tezayin? Why do they have to wait 5 to 6 days if they were full days or half a day? Yeah. Why did they have to find 6 days actually at least? Why? Why did they have to wait? Frek the Gemara. Bishlam alaman domer Moishov kol mokum shatim yoshvim mashma. According to the opinion, it says that the word Moishav comes to tell me wherever you sit, wherever you dwell, which means that Chodosh applies all over the world, and that applies to wheat grown in Russia, Ukraine, or America. I know the Chtiv, Mimela, understand that, one second, it applies all over the world. No, you tell me now. You tell me now. If it applies all over the world, is this coming to limit Eretz Yisrael in any way? Moshe Rabbenu? Is it coming to tell me that Chodesh only starts applying 14 years later? No, it's either or. You don't get, yeah, you understand. Either Moshe Rabbenu tells me all over the world, or Moshe Rabbenu tells me when you only start keeping Chodesh 14 years later, right? So according to Man Domer Kol Mokum Shatim Yoshvim, that Moshe Rabbenu comes to tell me to include Chutz La'aretz in the story, in the halacha. If so, the halacha applies to them right away when they came to Eretz Yisrael. As they came to Eretz Yisrael straight away, it applied to them. Moshe Rabbenu does not mean only once you settle down after conquering and dividing. If so, I understand very well. Hainu dechtiv. It makes sense when it says, "V'yochlu me'avur ha'oretz mimochos ha'pesach." It says that they ate from avur ha'oretz, from the grains of the land. Yeah, avur is grains. They ate from the grains of the land the day after Pesach, not the end of Pesach Isru Chag. Mimochos ha'pesach means the second day of Pesach, after the second day of Pesach. Meaning, mimochos ha'pesach ochul, mi'ikoro loy ochul. From the second day of Pesach they ate, after the first Yom Tov of Pesach they ate, mi'ikoro they did not eat. Before that, Yud, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Daled, Yud Tezvav, they did not eat the new grains. Why? Why not? Well, makes sense. Alma makes sense. Akruv oimer, v'adar ochul. First they brought the oimer. We all know what's a specialty, what's a special feature of the second day of Pesach? Korban oimer, right? Makes sense. Put two and two together, makes a lot of sense. First of all, they brought the korban oimer, the minchas oimer. Then they ate the new grains. Beautiful. You know why? Avada. Because Chodesh applied right away. So they waited until they brought the korban Chodesh, and then they ate. But according to the one that says that Moshe Rabbenu means what? Nothing to do with Chutz La'aretz. Moshe Rabbenu means that the Chodesh only applies when? After you, Yoresh and Yoshev, then Nechul le'altar. They just came to Eretz Yisrael. They have 14 years until they actually have to start keeping the mitzvah. So why didn't they eat straight away? Le'altar. What's le'altar? Le'altar l'chaim tovim u'l'sholem, right? Why can't they eat straight away when they came to Eretz Yisrael? Yeah, no problem. Pick a little bit of what grain. By the way, there's no trumas meisters. Nothing else applies. Only after 14 years. Have, grains, fry them, roast them, or even manage to make some bread and eat straight away. What's the problem, right? It's a challenge against the opinion that said that Moshe Rabbenu means to postpone it in 14 years. It looks from the story of the Bible in the Tanakh in Yoshua, it's telling me that straight away they kept Chodesh. Answers the Gemara, no, not everything is religious. It was a technical reason. Answers the Gemara, Lo havu tzrichi. It's very simple. They simply did not have to take from the new grains. What you don't have to, you don't spend money, not even spending money. It wasn't their money yet. They didn't have to eat from the new grains. Why didn't they have to eat from the new grains? Yeah, it's been how many days? Yud Aleph is based with Gimel Yud Aleph is Vav Zayin. Yeah, they have 6 to 7 days without food. Why didn't they need to eat from the new grains? Because they had another solution, which the Gemara is going to tell us now. Dichtiv. What we're about to quote now is a pasuk which we just read in last week's parsha, Parshas Beshalach, right? Yeah, what did we see? The pasuk describes already at the beginning of the fall of the man, the Torah prophesizes and tells us for how many years did they eat the man and until when did they eat the man. Says the Torah in Parshas Beshalach, Ubnei Yisrael ochlu es haman arboim shono. Bnei Yisrael ate the man for 40 years. Ad boyim el eretz noishoves. They ate the man until they came to the inhabited land, until they came to the settled land. Okay, comma. Es haman ochlu ad boyim el ktse eretz Canaan. They ate the man until they came to the edge, until they came to the far end, to the border of the land of Canaan. And it seems to be saying all the same thing, but it's not. If you notice, if you discern, the Pasuk seems to be contradicting itself, as the Gemara explains to us in the Brisa. You cannot say that they ate it until they came to inhabited land. What's the Eretz Neshavis? The important land where they all lived. Most of them lived where? Not in the land of Jordan, where only 2.5 tribes lived. They lived in Eretz Neshavis, that's inside the halachic borders of Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Neshavis is where? Where from our side of the Jordan River, where we live, says Rashi, that's a choshev land. Moshe Rabbenu was in Transjordan. He says, no, I don't care. I want the real deal. The Eretz Yisrael, where the Kedusha is higher. Yeah? Now, are you telling me that Bnei Yisrael ate the man until they came inside the Eretz Yisrael? Until they crossed the border? You can't say that, Shekvar Nema, because the same pasuk is telling me, perplexing me, El Ktse Eretz Canaan. The edge of Eretz Canaan seems to be the border, meaning outside the Jordan, where today's kingdom of Jordan is, yeah? It seems to be that they ate the man till then, right? In other words, so till when did they eat the man? Before they crossed the Jordan or after? And now the Gemara completes the question. You can't say that they ate the man until they came to the border of Eretz Canaan, which is the eastern border of the Jordan, the eastern bank. It says that they ate it until they came to Eretz Neshavis, to the western bank, to the west bank, yeah, to Eretz Yisrael, which is Neshavis, which is Choshuv. HaKeitzad, how do you reconcile that? Yeah, did they eat the man until coming to Eretz Yisrael, but stopped? Yeah, before they came to the katzeh, to the edge, or do we say Eretz Neshavis? Neshavis means inhabited, important, the real mainland, the mainland of Eretz Yisrael. Did they eat it until then? Yeah, before, after crossing the Jordan? What's going on over here? Okay, Tzad, I'll reconcile the story for you. The Shiv'a be'odo meis Moshe, as we know, and as the Gemara is going to prove soon, Moshe Rabbenu died in the 7th day of Odo. Zayin Odo is Moshe Rabbenu's death. The man stopped descending from Shamayim when Moshe died, which makes a lot of sense. Why? Because why did they get the man? B'schus Moshe. What happened when Aaron Cohen died? What stopped right away? The Anonim, the clouds. That's why Amalek came straight away. When Miriam died, what happened? The well stopped, and that was the whole story of Mei Meriva there to hit the rock. Speak to the rock. Yeah, the whole thing. Right? And then it was renewed. Renewal of subscription, but a hard one. Moshe died, no more man. So how did they survive in the, and we're talking here, obviously, where did he die? We all know, outside the Jordan, yeah? In the eastern bank, obviously. They still had man, miraculously so, they still managed to eat from the man that was in their vessels until the 16th of Nisan, yeah? From Zayin Nisan until, from Zayin Adar till the 16th of Nisan, right? We're talking here about 40 days, yeah? That time they what? They ate from the man, but the man did not fall, so it's not a contradiction. It's true to say that the man stopped falling. It did. Did they eat the man? Yes. How come? They had reserves. They had reserves. I don't know how that happened. You know, I didn't get the chance so much to look at the Mefarshim here. I guess it was a miracle. Maybe they had an extra amount. I don't know. But Lamai said they had a lot of man, spiritually, physically. They managed to sustain themselves from Zayin Odo until 16th of Nisan, when they were inside the Eretz Yisrael. And therefore what? Very good. It's not a contradiction. You know why they really only started picking the new grains and using the new grains of Eretz Yisrael in the 16th of Nisan? Because before that, they had the man. Who wants to eat grains when you have man? They already once complained about that, but they were bitten by the snakes, remember? They were once complaining. They already started seeing the goyish food, all the nice bread. They said, we want bread like them. We don't want the man. The man is too not juicy enough. We don't sink our teeth into it. Oh, they were punished. They learned their lesson. They're eating man, the spiritual food, as long as they can. They cling onto the man as much as they can. That's why they didn't eat the chodosh. But it's not a halachic reason. Halachically, they were allowed to eat from the new grains. They were allowed to, according to this opinion, because this opinion says, when did chodosh start? Only 14 years later. Yes, Alan. Anya Idach. Another brisa on the same subject of how long did he eat the man for. You see, this is halachic history for you. Another brisa. It says in the same pasuk which we just quoted, "Ubnei Israel ochlu saman arboim shana." Bnei Israel ate the man for 40 years. Okay, 40 years. Now, if you let's stop for a second. If you consider Tes Zayin Nisan as the last day of eating the man, right? And Yetzias Mitzrayim is the first day, then you really have 40 years. When they left Mitzrayim, it was the first day of Pesach, obviously. When they came to Eretz Israel, it was Yud Nisan, but they ate it until Pesach, right? Very good, then you have 40 years. The problem is that this is not true. Why? Now we're going to address the beginning. Now we're going to talk about the beginning, the starting point of them eating the man. When did they start eating the man? Did they start eating the man when they left Mitzrayim straight away? Last week's parsha tells us not like that. Look at the brisa. Frek the brisa v'chiarboim shon ochlu. Did they eat the man 40 years? You know, exactly 40 years, day by day. No, they ate the man 40 years minus 30 days. When did the man start falling? It says mafurish in the Torah, the second month. In the second month, right? There in the middle of the second month, in the Tesvav of in the Teszayin of the second month, yeah, it says over there, that's when they ate it, right? Here Rashi says, when did they come? In the 15th, there's a question if it was that day or day later. But Lamaisa, in the 15th of the second month of Iyar, that's when, exactly a month after the left Mitzrayim, after Kriyas Yamsuf, of course, what happened then? They started complaining, we're starving, we're dying, we're hungry, we wish we died in Mitzrayim, da da da. And then what? Then he said, don't worry, you're going to get the man. So you see that they ate the man 40 years? No, but it only started 30 days after the beginning of the 40 years journey. So why telling me 40 years? It's coming to tell you another message. Very good. Ugot does mean cakes, as chometz dike cakes. Ugot means the round bread that they took out, which was matzahs. Those matzahs sustained them apparently for 30 days, and they had the flavor of the man already. Very interesting. So the beginning of the journey, they ate the man. They didn't eat the man itself, but the flavor of the man is that. You have to understand something. Man flavor, one could ask a question, the man had no flavor. Right? Because it's any flavor you want. Right? Pizza, steak, whatever you like, right? Yeah, peppers. But the answer is, I think, Taman is a spiritual thing. In other words, the man represents the bitochen one has in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The flavor of the man was very spiritual food, which you didn't have to go to toilet, you know, it was all spiritual, and it represents the bitochen one has in Hashem. It says, Lo nitne Torah ela lo ochle aman. People who are spiritual, they're not too much into food or not worried too much about parnosa, the Torah is given to them. And that's a ta'aman. That spiritual kind of feeling, eating spiritually, feeling connected to Hashem while eating, that started already with the matzahs that they took out from Mitzrayim. So let's summarize. The first 30 days, they ate the matzahs, ugois matzos, but what was it? Man, flavor. Meaning, it was as spiritual as the man, maybe they didn't have to go to toilet like the man. It was all clean and pure. Till when did they eat the actual man? It started falling the second month, the middle of the second month of the first year. It stopped falling Zayin Adar a month and a little bit before they came to Eretz Yisrael, right? But they still had man left over from Moshe's death until about 40 days later, and they still ate even as they came to Eretz Yisrael. So they had man before, man after. Tanya Idach. Another brisa to do with the same subject. It says in the brisa, 1 second, please, both. Beshiva be'odor meis Moshe. Moshe Rabbenu died in the 7th of Adar. Ubeshiva be'odor noilad, and he was born in the 7th of Adar also, as we all know. Break the brisa, minayin shebeshiva be'odor meis. It doesn't say in the Torah anywhere that Moshe Rabbenu died in the 7th of Adar. What we have to do now is basically like a mathematical formula with a variable. Yeah, right? You have a variable, an x. Now we have an x and all kinds of numbers, and then we'll figure out what the x is. Shenema. It says, V'yomas sham Moshe eved Hashem. Okay, Moshe Rabbenu died there. Where is there? Arvas Moav. Before they came to Eretz Yisrael, he gave them a Musar Shmuz, yeah, the whole of Chumash Dvorim, right, for many days, right? And Sham, there, before entering Eretz Yisrael, Moshe Rabbenu died, and everybody knows, every little kid knows, he didn't go into Eretz Yisrael. When did he die? Oh, that's the variable. B'ksiv. Now let's start working from there onwards. It says, "Vayivku b'nei Yisrael es Moshe be'arvas Moav." In the Arvas Moav, yeah, in the desert of Moav over there, Bnei Yisrael mourned his death. How long did they mourn it for? Shloishim yom, 30 days. X plus 30. Formula, X plus 30. V'ksiv, and it says, "Vayachrei Moshe eved Hashem." Now we are moving, Rabbi Isai, where? To a new Sefer Yoshua. We're now reading from Sefer Yoshua. After the demise of Moshe, the slave of Hashem, the servant of Hashem, Uksiv, what did Hashem tell Yoshua to do? Moshe avdi meis, yeah, my servant Moshe died. The ato, now kum avoir, get up and move and cross the Jordan. Aradi Yoshua, V'ksiv, and it says, Ivu bekerv machane, v'tzovo sa'am, yeah, Yoshua commanded the top people, you should now pass the message and go amongst the camp. V'tzavu sa'am lemor, you should command the people, saying, Achinu lachem tzeda, get yourself ready, prepare food for the way. Oh, in 3 days you'll cross the Jordan. So now they had 30 days of mourning. When they got up from the Shloishim, straight away Hashem told Yoshua, Yalla, get moving. Now it took them how long? 3 days. From the spot where they were sitting in the Ever Yarden, yeah, in the eastern bank, until they actually crossed and arrived in Eretz Yisrael proper, it took them 3 days. 30 plus 30. So we know that they arrived in Eretz Yisrael 33 days after the Ptira of Moshe. When did they arrive in Eretz Yisrael? I told you, the Ksiv, it says, V'ham olim yarden be'osar l'chodesh harishon. Very good. When did they arrive in Eretz Yisrael? On the 10th day of the first month. When is the first month? Tishrei. Very good. So on the Yud Nisan, on the 10th of Nisan, they arrived in Eretz Yisrael. Semen shloshim u'shlosh yomim lemafreya. Deduct from the 10th of Nisan 33 days backwards. Work backwards, right? With X plus 33. Mamash like a formula. Equals Yud Nisan. Alamadeta shebeshiva be'odor meis Moshe. Very good. So we know Moshe was niftar in the 7th of Adar. Why the 7th of Adar? 10 minus 30 is 10 of the previous month, right? Minus 3 is 7. So we know that Moshe Rabbenu was niftar in the 7th of Adar. Moshe Rabbenu, that's his petira. Very nice. But how do you know Moshe Rabbenu was born in the 7th of Adar? How do you know that? Shenema, because Moshe Rabbenu himself told them, he told Bnei Yisrael himself, V'yomer Alehem, right towards the end of Chumash Devorim, at the day of his Petira, Mamish the day that was Niftar, he says, Ben Meh V'esrim Shon Anoichi Hayoim, I am 120 today. Today I turned 120. Yeah? Now Moshe Rabbenu didn't speak in a be'erech, approximately more or less. If I tell you I'm 53, it's true, but I'm not exactly 53. I turned 53, yeah, about a month ago, yeah, right? But it's not less, yeah? Anochi hayoim, he means hayoim, today. And he continues and he says, yeah, I cannot, I cannot, seemingly saying I cannot go out and I cannot come in. Meaning, I can't lead you anymore. It seems to be saying that is physically speaking, that he is not physically able to. However, some Meforshim say that that's what it means, and some say no. Rashi says that's not true. He was very able, because you see that he jumped, he went all the way up to Har Nevo, and before he was still very able. Yeah, he was still very young and fresh in his abilities. But the Chokhmah, Hashem took away from him the minus of Chokhmah on purpose. Hashem took away the battery, took off the power, the Wi-Fi from Moshe Rabbenu. Kivyachol, he's not Moshe Rabbenu anymore, because Hashem decided that's it. Your time has come. That's it. Now off duty. Yeah, you've done your job. Now that's the end of the pasuk. She'en Talmud lo omer hayoim. What is there to say hayoim? He can say, I'm 120. What's Hayoim? Says Hayoim, today. You know why Moshe Rabbenu is saying that? The Lamed, it's coming to teach you not only about Moshe Rabbenu, but he's telling you something in general, a general concept. The Lamed Shakadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev u'mimalish nosem shel tzadikim miyoim leyoim u'mechodesh lechodesh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sits and fills the years of tzaddikim from day to day, from month to month. Shene'emar, it says, Es mispar yomecha amale. I will fill the number of your days. Yeah, which means that tzaddikim are complete whole people. And Hashem injects new spirituality into the days of the tzaddik every day. Yeah, we all know the concept. By the way, this is a thought that I came up with this morning. When I was in school, I remember when we were in elementary school, we were taught this concept. And they told us because tzaddikim are shleimim, because the tzaddik is a sholem, so he has shleim a year. Yeah, it sounds very nice. I think there's another message, and that is, we all know that every Yom Tov, right? Let's say pick a Yom Tov. What's the next Yom Tov? Pesach, not Purim, Doraisa. Pesach. Pesach. We're not commemorating just things that happened in the past. Every time, every year in Tesva of Nisan, we have a new gust of freedom that comes into the world. And we can experience it again, and every year we should experience it higher, right? So every day of the year really has a different spiritual message to give us. And the tzaddikim, every time they get the message. Every time. In other words, he had Moshe Rabbenu 120, let's say, days of Aleph Kislev, let's say. I'm saying on purpose. Time a day, all the Aleph Kislevs were complete, right? He doesn't have to go to another Aleph Kislev. Whichever message Aleph Kislev has to give the person, he's completed the job. He got the PhD++. He got the 100. So he doesn't have to go through another one. You get what I'm saying? Whatever message each and every day, every spiritual energy that day has to offer the person, he chapped it. And now he can go home, he can go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the right day. So now, up until now, we've been learning about the very interesting things about Bnei Yisrael, the man, Moshe Rabbenu, my wife's grandmother, very special woman from England, from London. She was born and she was nifter almost the same day. I think mamish by this hair split. Yeah, she was born at the end of Hanukkah, and she was nifter also maybe a day later. I think maybe in the Hebrew date it came up just about. So today she was a very special woman. Okay, so maybe you know of other people tzaddikim that were born and nifter the same day, but I think there are. I heard once other names. I don't remember right now. Now we're back to the mitzvahs atluis ba'oretz. Now we've done our halachic history. Now we're talking again about the same machloikes, about what does chodosh apply in chutz la'aretz or not. Before we continue, I'd like you to remind me, what are the other two mitzvahs which also apply in chutz la'aretz, although they are agricultural mitzvahs mentioned in the Mishnah, and we're not talking yet if it's the rice or the rabbanon. Orla and kilayim, beautiful orla. The prohibition of, you cannot enjoy the fruit of a new tree, within the first 3 years. And kilayim, you should not sow the seeds of two species together too close to each other. Right. So now let's see what the Bryce has to say about that. Tanya. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer, Shalosh mitzvos nitztavu Yisrael b'knisoson la'oretz. There are 3 mitzvahs which Bnei Israel were mitztaveh, they were commanded when they came when they entered Eretz Yisrael. Now, not only 3, by the way. What he's trying to say is there were many mitzvahs that were commanded only upon coming to Eretz Yisrael. For sure, all the agricultural mitzvahs. Rashi says, forget about halacha, technically, in the Midbar, they did not have any agriculture. They didn't have agricultural life, right? They managed with a man. They did some business with the Goyim as they were coming closer to Eretz Yisrael, with all the sad story, Moav, Midian, not so posh, but they were trading with them, right? Okay, but they didn't have agricultural life, okay? So now they came to Eretz Yisrael. A lot of mitzvahs were new to them. 3 out of those mitzvahs, v'noyagos ben ba'aretz ben b'chutz la'oretz. 3 of those mitzvahs, although they are agricultural and they were noyag in Eretz Yisrael, they're exception to the rule, and they apply both in Eretz Yisrael and outside of it. Vehu hadin sheinagu, and it makes sense that should be noyeg, meaning we can learn it. Hu hadin also means kal v'chomer. We derive through a kal v'chomer that it should apply. Now, which is the one mitzvah which we keep talking about all the time, which according to some opinions applies in Chutz La'aretz. Chodosh, very good. Chodosh, according to some opinions, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is now taking sides. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai belongs to the party that believes that Moshvoisecha means anywhere in the world, wherever you dwell, wherever you want to live. Yeah, you want to live in Sweden, Gesundheit. You want to live in Burkina Faso, great. Not so good. Live in Eretz Yisrael. But if you live elsewhere, good. You should be Noeg Chodosh wherever you are. If so, how did Orlan Kilaim come into the story? Kal v'choymer. Zok de Braisa b'shem Reb Shimon ben Yochai. Uma Chodosh. Chodosh is a relatively lighter mitzvah compared to Orlo and Kilaim. Why? Uma Chodosh she'en isuro isur oilom. A Chodosh is not always also. Chodosh by definition is a time related lo ta'aseh. You cannot eat the new. What do you mean new? New is very relative. Yeah, is this jacket new? Yeah. What's new? Until when? Until Tezai Nisan, right? Until then it's new. Once Tezai Nisan is over, the morning of Tezai Nisan, if there's no korban, you can eat it straight away. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, if you remember, in Rosh Hashanah Daf Lamed Aleph, I think, he made a gzera that Chodesh should not be eaten till the night, till Motzei, second day of Pesach. Motzei, second day Yom Tov, yeah? Okay, but Lamaisa Chodesh only applies until a very specific point. It's not an Isser forever. Another Kula number 2 of Chodesh. Then Isur Hano. Chodesh is not Asur Ba'ano. Yeah, we said that the Chodesh, let's say you have the new grains, you don't want to eat them, you can feed them to your animal. We're not going now to the details of Chodesh, which are interesting, but Chodesh is allowed Behano, which means I'm not allowed to eat Chodesh, I'm allowed to sell Chodesh, I'm allowed to give my animal, the animal fodder from Chodesh. It's not also Bahano by enjoyment, but benefiting, just also Bachila, like many other, like Chazil, yeah, like Dam. Also, besides the fact that it's limited by time, it's also limited by an action. There is a heter le'isuroi. What does it mean? There's another action I can take to make it allowed, to permit it. What is that? The korban. What do you mean? Even, let's assume that the entire day of 16 it's osir, as long as it didn't bring the korban. There is an act that I can do and I should do in the times of Beis HaMikdash in the morning. Let's say I didn't do it in the morning, lunchtime, afternoon, yeah, b'diavad. At the moment of bringing the korban, that allows it before the end of the day. So although Me'ikar Din 16 of Nisan, you're not allowed to eat the korban, right? But if the chodosh, once you bring the korban, it's allowed. There's no such thing by other mitzvahs as far as I know. Maybe by korbanos. Not mitzvahs there isn't. Imagine yourself Yom Kippur, there'll be halacha. If you say sorry very, very much to Hashem, in the middle of Yom Kippur, you can start eating. If you do something in Yom Kippur, I don't know, you roll in the snow, then what? Then you can start eating. No such thing. Yom Kippur, you have to fast until the very end of Yom Kippur, whether you like it or not. Doesn't depend on an action, right? As opposed to Chodosh. Chodosh, besides the fact that it's time related to the 16th, until the end of the 16th, you're not supposed to eat it in the times of Beis HaMikdash. If you brought a korban early in the morning, if any point of time you brought the korban, the korban makes something which was not allowed, it permits it all of a sudden. That's a magic of Chodosh. So we saw, let's review, because it's important. We see that there are 3 points in Chodosh that are more lenient than other mitzvahs, which we'll mention soon. So Chodosh, first of all, is not also the entire year. It's only also up until a certain date, until, let's say, the end of the Zayin, right? What else? What comes when Taz Beis HaMikdash or Midrabban or Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai? Secondly, you're allowed to benefit from the Chodosh. Yeah, some Isurech, you should just realize before I continue, I don't know how much, a lot of, there's a big segment of the second parak of Psochim that discusses the question, when the Torah tells you not to eat something, are you allowed to be nehene? Are you allowed to benefit from it, make money, feed it to your friend the goy, feed it to your dog, feed it to your cow? Yes or no? There's Machloekes, Chizkiah, I don't remember that, Meroim Chizkiah, no, I don't remember. There's Machloekes to Meroim, and they argue, one says it's always Osur Ba'ano, anything that's Osur Ba'achil, Osur Ba'ano. I mean, then there may be some exceptions. And the other one says no. Most of them are Mutar Ba'ano. Halacha L'maaseh, most Isur Achila are Mutar Ba'ano. Chazir. Nevela, Treifa, you're allowed to sell them to a goy. Give them a gift if you have an interest with him. You give them to the dog. It says Mefurish there. Nobody argues. Yeah, Nevela. What are the Isur Ano that's Osur Ba'ano? Isur Achila Osur Ba'ano. Which one? Give me an example. Also b'cholov. It says 3 times, not to benefit also b'cholov. You're not allowed to give your friend, to sell your friend cheeseburger. Somebody gave you cheeseburger from work, a matana. Maybe he wants to make fun of you as a Jew. Maybe he doesn't know you're Jewish. Cheeseburger, can I give it over and sell it to McKinley? No, I can't. It's not also. Can I feed it to my dog? No, you're not allowed to. That's why it repeats itself 3 times. Achila, hanon, bishul. What about orla and kilaim? Ooh, I'm telling you the end of the story. Orla and kilaim are also serbano. But most Isura Achila are mutar bano. Chodesh is mutar bano. Chazir, Nevela, Treifa, all kinds of things are mutar bano. Okay, now, so Chodesh is mutar bano. And what's the third thing which is lenient by Chodesh? What is that? There's an action, a heter, I do something, and voila, it becomes mutar before the end of the time. That's a korban. And yet, with all the coolest of Chodesh, first wide line, which is almost the end of the Amud, in spite of all that, noyag ben ba'atz ben b'chutz la'aretz. When it comes to chutz la'aretz, all of a sudden we're being frummy. We're saying you're not allowed to have chodosh, neither in oretz, neither in chutz la'aretz. If so, that's a kal v'chomer that invites a kal v'chomer. Kilaim, let's examine kilaim now. Kilaim she'iso and iso oilom. If one grafted kilaim, if one, let's say, I'm not actually talking about grafting now. Let's talk about the classical kilaim. There are 2 species that grew together, very, very close to each other, too close for comfort. Midoraisa, let's say the gefen, midoraisa, the isser, by the way, is only, there are few isurim. The one which is doraisa is gefen. You have a vineyard, yeah, and next to the vineyard, which is 2, 2, and 1, a certain shape of the vines, yeah, growing together, set and grown together like a vineyard. And next to it, too close to comfort, within Dalet Ames even, you have what? Chita, se'oira, right? Growing next to it. It's all osir. It's osir. You're not allowed to eat that forever. Not until Pesach or until Yom Tzamut. I don't know. You can't eat it and that's it. You're not allowed forever. It's osir. Secondly, B'isur Nisur no. The Gemara says, proving from the Torah, it says pentikdash hameleya. It talks about kilaim saying tikdash. Kodesh? Kilaim or kodesh? I thought they're osur. Yes. What's kodesh? Hekdesh. Are you allowed to benefit from hekdesh? No. Kilaim are as osur as hekdesh, meaning removed from you. Kodesh means something good or bad. You know, it's a kedesha. It's a harlot. Yeah. In other words, yeah, kodesh means stay away from good or bad. Yeah. So the kilaim are stay away from them completely. Don't enjoy them, don't benefit, don't sell them to Mackenzie, and don't feed them to McKinley, and not to your dog Rexy. That's it. So we see 2 chumras already in kilaim. Thirdly, there's no magic wand you can wave and make the kilaim mutter. Kilaim are also forever and ever, right? There's no korban you bring which makes the kilaim mutter. So kilaim have 3 chumras that chodesh doesn't. So if chodesh, which is very, very, very kal, and yet it applies all over the world, so kilaim, which are 3 times more chomur, enodin shinagu ben b'otz ben b'chutz la'aretz chazak me'od. Surely, clearly, kilaim, which are 3-fold more chomur than the chodesh, surely kilaim should apply in chutz la'aretz. So according to this opinion, which is Reb Shimon ben Yochai, kilaim applies in chutz la'aretz mideoraisa. But Rabbi said it's a machloikis. Meaning what I told you at the beginning of the sugya was not wrong. I prepared you. I told you there are different opinions because I knew it's a machloikis. Reb Shimon Yochai is more of the hardliner. He believes, as we just saw right now in front of our eyes, it's a kal v'chomer. Kal v'chomer is deraisa. Kal v'chomer is one of the ways we learn in the Torah. And therefore, if chodesh is also in chutz la'aretz, all the more so 3 times kal v'chomer that orla, that both that kilaim should also be osur. And what about orla? Why is orla also osur mi doraisa ba chutz la'aretz? V'adin orla b'shtayim. Orla, when you examine the 3 points, orla has 2 points which it's more chomur than chodosh, but the 3rd point it's not more chomur. Let's examine. Is orla isur hana? Yes. Take it from me. Yes, it is. Orla is osur isur hana. We learn it also in Psachim and other places. Orla is also ba'ano. Now, what about orla being allowed because of certain action? Can I give a korban in the 2nd year of the life of the tree and orla becomes whoops mutter? No. So we see two chumras in Orla. But which point is Kal in Orla? Which point does Orla share together with Chodosh? Till when is Orla also? Oh, Peretz. Peretz is the winner. Clearly, time. Just like Chodesh is time limited, the Isser, until second day of Pesach or until the Korban, whichever one, yeah. So too, Orla is not forever. In other words, the fruit may be also forever, the fruit that grew on the first or second, third year, but the tree will become allowed. It's kind of middle of the road, yeah. In other words, the tree is something which is not forever, but Lamaisa, it's still a Kal V'chomer. Since 2 points of Chodosh are more lenient than who? Than Orla. And Chodesh, nevertheless, is also all over the world. Kol Sheken Orla will be also all over the world. Very good. So according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, really, let's summarize. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, excuse me, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, excuse me. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, sorry, pardon. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says very clearly, first of all, I belong to the party, I vote for the party that says that Chodesh applies all over the world. What does the word Moshvosechem mean according to Shimon ben Yochai? Moshvosechem? Wherever you dwell. Yeah, you want to dwell in Nicaragua, good for you. Just make sure you keep Chodesh in Nicaragua also. Nice. Now, what happens with Orla and Kilaim? If Chodesh applies all over the world, and Chodesh is such a sweetie, lenient Isser, only applies till 16 of Nisan. Afterwards, it's okay. I could bring a korban even before. I mean, within the last day. Okay, no. Give it to your dog. Give it to all good. And yet, it's also all over the world. Orla and Kilaim, which are for sure more chomor to different levels, surely there should be also midoraisa, also all over the world. That's Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Comes the son of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and argues in the father. You're allowed to do that as long as it's done respectfully, we said, or different besmedrash, or after he died. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Oimer. Now, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, bear in mind, he believes that Chodosh does not apply in Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon belongs to the other party. He says that Oimer, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon Oimer. Let's turn the page. Kol mitzvah. Okay, let's go. Kol mitzvah shenitztav Yisrael kodem knisason la'oretz noheges ben ba'oretz ben b'chutz la'oretz. All the mitzvahs which applied before they entered Eretz Yisrael, which means which mitzvahs applied in the midbar? Many mitzvahs. The non-agricultural ones, the tefillin, even mitzvahs which you very nicely said they didn't keep, they were forced not to keep. Mila, but Mila applied. They should have done it. They just couldn't. Yeah, somebody in Siberia in jail. He didn't keep all the mitzvahs because he couldn't. Yeah, but be'etzem all the mitzvahs that mitzvahs should be gufoi, they apply. And noiges ben b'aretz b'chutz la'aretz, they apply all over the world. Obviously, Shabbos, Mila, tefillin, tzitzis, tars mishpacha, they apply all over the world. Le'achak nisason la'aretz. Now, when you have a mitzvah which only applies upon coming to Eretz Yisrael, agricultural one, ein noiges ela ba'oretz. Wow, you hear that? Chodosh, Orla, Kilaim only apply where? Inside Eretz Yisrael. Now, you may raise an eyebrow and say, excuse me, we saw in the Mishnah that Orla and Kilaim apply in Chutz La'aretz. Thank you. What did I tell you then? Midarabonon. In other words, yeah, the opinion of Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon is, I know about Orla and Kilaim. Thank you. I know that. Only Midarabonon. Midoraisa, he says, all mitzvahs that are tluyos ba'oretz, Midoraisa only apply inside Eretz Yisrael. Chala also applies in Chutzatz, only Midarabonon. Rabbi Isai, I'm talking here Doraisa level. Doraisa level, no mitzvah hatluya ba'oretz applies in Chutzatz. Midoraisa, yeah, you live in Belize, you don't have to keep any of the mitzvahs shetluyas ba'oretz. Chutz mean, there are two mitzvahs which are not exactly toli ba'oretz, but are toli ba'oretz. Let's see what that means. Hashmotas ksofim v'shiluach avodim. Hashmotas ksofim, shmita. Shmita, we all know that shmita has two parts to it. Shmita sakarka, stop working the land, stop toiling the earth every 7th year. Every child knows that. And also, if you lent your friend money, if you don't do prusbul or mesiras chayves, you can kiss it goodbye, right? He doesn't have to pay you back, right? At the end, some point in Shemitah, yeah, the Shemitah is mishamet, and that's it. You don't have to, he doesn't have to give you back the money. Says now, Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, Chutz min hashmotas ksofim, shmitas ksofim, v'shiluach avodim. Shiluach avodim. When do you send away your eved, and you have to send away your eved ivri? Yovel, Yom Kippur of Yovel. Now these mitzvahs are funny. What do you mean funny? They're not agricultural. Yeah, shmitas ksofim is in the bank, in the gmach, in the koilel, wherever you borrow the money. Yeah, it's not agricultural. Shiluch avodim, no. The Hebrew slave, Stam, he works in my diamond factory, as the Gemara says. Yeah, and yet, she'afal bishen itztavo lem le'achak nisosan la'oretz. Interesting. It's mitzvah shebegufoi, not bekarka, but they were only commanded to fulfill these mitzvahs upon coming to Eretz Yisrael. Why? You tell me, what's the common denominator between Hashmotas Ksofim Shiluach Avodim that yes has to do a little bit with the land of Israel? Both mitzvahs have to do with Shemitah and Yovel. Shmitas Ksofim, it's true. It's a mitzvah in the guf, in the bank, by the finance master, by the gmach, but the Maisa, it depends kind of on coming to Israel. Only when they came to Israel, they started keeping Shemitah and keeping Shmitas Ksofim. Shiluach Avodim, you blow the shofar, all the Avodim go home, Yom Kippur of the Yovel. Yovel applies in Eretz Yisrael. They did not have Shmitas Ksofim or Shiluach Avodim in the Midbar. They only started fulfilling that when, upon coming to Eretz Yisrael. And yet, pam pam pam, no heges ben ba'otz ben b'chutz la'oretz. So they apply both in Eretz Yisrael and chutz la'oretz. Shmitas Ksofim. You live in London, you live in New York, you live in Los Angeles. What? You still have to keep Shmitas Ksofim. You do not, lo tigois, do not demand the choiv. Don't charge the debt from your friend after Shemitah unless proves bull. And Shiluach Avodim does apply also in chutz la'aretz. Yeah, that we saw that in Rosh Hashanah. You send away your Hebrew slave also in Yovel. So these are the exceptions. Correct the Gemara on the style. It all makes sense, but the style of the loshon is a bit different. Is questionable. Frek the Gemara, Hashmotas Ksofim Choves Gufi. Right? Why are you telling me all the mitzvahs at Tluyos Ba'aretz don't apply in Eretz Yisrael except for those? They're not Choves Karka, the Choves Guf. It's true that they are. It's very nice. My idea is very nice, and we're going to see it later. But Lamaisa, it's not a Choves Karka. To lend money or not lend money or charge money is not karka. To send away an eved is not karka. It's a goof. It's my own body. I have to lend money, not charge it back. I have to send away my eved. So why do you connect it to the wrong group? Lo nitzrecha. And says, no. There is a chiddush here. Yes. Ela lekedetanya. According to the following brisa, you'll understand what Rabbi Elazar or Rabbi Shimon said. The Tanya, it says in the brisa, Rabbi Omer. Let me just explain the question a bit better. I didn't explain it well enough. The question is, Kilu, why would there be a havamina that this mitzvah should not apply in chutz la'aretz? Not about it. It's not actually stylistic. I was wrong. It's not a stylistic question. It's an essential question. If it's to do with lending and borrowing money and not charging money after Shemitah, it's a mitzvah you do in the bank, in the gemach, at home. It's not a mitzvah of the karka. So why shouldn't they think it applies all over the world? That's a question. Of course it applies all over wherever you live, in Antwerp and in Paris. Why not? Answers the Gemara, no, there is a connection to the land, as I told you, the Tanya. Rabbi Omer, it says, V'zed dvar hashmita, shamoit. It says in the Torah, in Dvarim, zed dvar shmita. This is the word, the issue, the topic of Shmita. Shamoit kol ba'al mashayodoi. Yeah, every person who is the lender should lashmit, should remove his hand, should let go, not take the debt. Why does it say shmita shamoit? It's an extra word, shmita shamoit. Yeah, why? What's this double lotion? B'shtei shmitas hakosav medaber. Yeah, the Torah is talking about two shmitas and compares them. Achat shmitas karka, the achat shmitas ksofim. Karka and ksofim are samuch. They are paired, they are juxtaposed, they are compared, meaning, bizman she'ata meshamet karka, ata meshamet ksofim. Bizman she'ata meshamet karka, ata meshamet ksofim. Very good, which means that, and this we just learned it, where Yosef and I learned it Be'iyun, that the topic of Shmitas Karka, according to most opinions, Shmita nowadays is the Rabbanon. Yeah, Shmitas Karka. Therefore, Shmitas Ksofim is also the Rabbanon. That's why Hillel started Prusbul. He was allowed to do that because all Shmitas Ksofim is the Rabbanon. In other words, when Shmitas Karka applies, not where, but when, with an N. When Shmitas Karka is the Raisa, Shmitas Ksofim is the Raisa too. Karka and the other Shmita of the money, they go hand in hand. When Shmitas Karka does not apply, assuming today only the Rabbanon, so too Shmitas Ksofim today is the Rabbanon. That leads us to understand the comparison we made before. The Ema, I'm going to ride on the wings of that and say, wait a second. If so, let me suggest, B'mokoim, just like you compare the two Shmitas regarding time, maybe you can compare them regarding place. B'mokoim she'atam mishamet karka, atam mishamet ksofim. In Eretz Yisrael, where, with an R, where you keep the karka, you have to abstain from working the land, which is in Israel. You also mishamet ksofim. That's where you also don't charge back your loan. But in chitz l'uretz, if you live wherever you live in Portugal, and there's no shmitas karka in Portugal, that's for sure, because it's karka, it's agricultural. Maybe in Portugal there's no shmitas ksofim either. That's a very strong havamina. Meaning, let's understand the answer. I know that shmitas ksofim is not agricultural, but it's closely connected and tied halachically to shmitas karka. There was a strong havamina to say that just like shmitas ksofim does not apply when shmitas karka doesn't apply, so too where shmitas karka doesn't apply, so to shmitas ksofim will not apply. So maybe shmitas ksofim is always tied like a Siamese twin to shmitas karka, and therefore in chutzah it shouldn't apply. Talmud loima, bam bam bam, ki kor shmita la Hashem mikol mokoim. Because the Torah tells me kor shmita la Hashem, the Torah tells me an extra posuk which seems to be redundant. Kor shmita la Hashem. Hashem calls that year shmita to Hashem in honor of Hashem. Mikol mokoim, wherever you are in the world, this kind of shmita, which is ksofim, you have to keep wherever you live. So let's summarize. So according to Rabbi Elazar Bar Shimon, he argues on his father. And he believes that Chodesh does not apply in Chutz La'aretz, needless to say, Orla and Kilayim, because they were only learned from Chodesh. The Rabbanon, leave the Rabbanon alone for now. So what are the two mitzvahs that apply in Chutz La'aretz? All mitzvahs that are Eretz Yisrael connected are what? Only in Eretz Yisrael. There are two mitzvahs which are, as I said before, I stand by what I said, they're half connected to Eretz Yisrael. They're not agricultural, but they're connected to Shemitah and Yovel. Havamina, they're connected to Shemitah and Yovel. They're stemming from there. Maybe I don't have to keep them in Chutz La'aretz, Shemitah Ksofim, and Shiluch Avodim. Kamash Malan, you do have to keep them everywhere. And we're going to talk tomorrow about Shiluch Avodim. I didn't yet prepare it, so I don't want to say. Yes, questions? Mishnah at the end of Shvis, the 10th parak of Mishnah Shvi, says Hillel Azokin saw that people were not lending money to each other, scared, being concerned that they're not going to get the money back in Shemitah. So who lost? Both poor people and rich people. The rich people didn't get the money back, so eventually they closed the door to no eldeles. There were no eldeles, and did not allow the anim to come and borrow. So both of them lost. Says Hillel, listen, I have an idea which is based on the Oraisa. In the Oraisa, if let's say Yitzchak owes me money, you don't owe me anything, you give me so much tea, Givaldi, what a great guy. Let's say you owe me 10 shekels. Now in Shemitah, I cannot charge it from you, but I can give my shtar. You gave me a shtar. I owe Akiva 10 shekels. I'm not allowed to charge it from you. I can give it to Peretz and say, Peretz, please, do you mind? You deal with it. You be my turn, Rabboni, this time. You take the shtar. I'm giving you the shtar. I'm marking it to the shtar. The shtar is yours. And if you want to play games, you can keep the money by you. You are allowed to charge Yitzchak my money. Get the story? That's the basis on Prusbul. I cannot charge my money. Bal Moshe Yodoi. My hand should not be in his pocket in the Yovel. I can give my shtar to you and to other people. You should charge it from him. Or even better, I can give the money to BSD. Why? Giving money to by the way, what I just said now is Machloikis. Everyone agrees I can give my money to BSD, my shtar to BSD. Why? Because BSD, it's already as if the chayv is collected. If I involved the law, BSD back then, it was not like today, it was mamish the police, it was the law. If I pass the case to the police, they'll deal with you. If I gave my shtar to Beis Din, then what? Then Beis Din having your shtar, it's as if it's already collected. If it's already collected, no problem. I can then come to your house and take the money from you because it's as if it was collected before Shemitah already. That is giving over the shtar. Prusbul is more developed than that. Prusbul was one step further. Prusbul, even if really says Hillel Azokin, yeah, even if you don't have such a shtar, Meforsh shtar, I can write a general shtar on all my choives. Which shtar, balpeh, any choiv that I have in the world, I'm handing over to Beis Din. Beis Din, you deal with it. And even though I will deal with it, because Beis Din has the power to go to the house of my loiv and take everything, it's as if it was already collected by them. Yeah, let's say you argue with your friend. You have a neighbor who's really, really annoying you. I don't mean dafka neighbor, whatever. You have a friend who's really, really annoying you. You have issues with him back and forth and back and forth. Let's say you call the police, and the police is very tough with him. That's it. End of case. It's only a question of minutes until the police comes and we'll take him to jail, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the idea of posbul. Once it's the hands of Beis Din, it's a done deal. So I'm not collecting my choiv. The choiv is already collected. It's collected by the hands of the law. It's just a matter of time until they come to chap it from you. Memela, that was allowed. And that's pruzbul means poruz, bully, ubuti. Yeah, poruz means takona. It's a takona. It's a good thing for both bully, the rich people, and buti, the poor people. That is pruzbul, in very, very short terms. Yeah, that was 60 seconds on pruzbul. Beseder, that's how it works. That's also in Gitin, Daf Lamed Vav Lamed Zayin. Appears also there. Thank you, Atzlacha Ubracha. Thank you to all our viewers in Torah Anytime. Torah Anytime has a new look from today. They're starting a whole new website to the new design, and also thank you for the YouTube viewers without a new design. Atzlacha Ubracha. Thank you to everybody who came here, who weathered the storm to come here today. Wow, wow, wow. Kol hakavod. And Baruch Rav to you, Yosef. Atzlacha Uvracha. Thank you to everybody on the phone and in Zoom, everywhere else. Atzlacha, thank you.